you've always handled that anyway, hiring part-time.
Yeah, that's part-time, most definitely.
Okay, but you know what, I think the question is that policy and procedure on that? If not, then I think, you know, it's nothing that we have in writing, and so if we're going to be transparent, then we need to have that available to show that we're following procedures. And I understand what you're saying. Are y'all in agreement with that, council?
I spoke with Chief outside on the way in about policy and procedure. He gonna get it to me tomorrow.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions before we commit to the full-time?
But we want to do it, you know, we want to be in our rights, and we want to do it legal to make sure that we are doing
Before you
it
hire
correctly
somebody.
before we hire anybody. I think that we need to at least let Councilwoman Toles get a chance to look at it.
So we'll have to table that with the part-time and just go with the full-time. Are y'all ready to go for that tonight, council?
I say put it in the paper and advertise it, yes.
Right, exactly.
Policy, procedures, we don't have to vote on it.
All right. So with that being said, we'll, with the police department, with the full-time. So you all in agreement with that? Councilman Wynn?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Toles?
Yes.
And I heard you say council.
Yes.
What about you, council?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll advertise for the full, but we'll delay the part-time, okay?
Kind of
We'll get the
emergency.
information on that. All right, thank you. Moving right along. We have, some time ago, I met with, Mr. Lawrence. Is he here, Superintendent of Public Works?
They had a water leak earlier, he may have been pretty
Yeah, you know, I did see him.
nasty and wet, he may have had to go change clothes, or he may not be through, I'm not sure.
Okay, but that was on the Great Highway.
Gray Highway, yes, ma'am.
What kind of, you know what kind of?
It was a service line on an old, I went out there and talked with him, looked at it, it's down in Granite, it's an old, leaded ale, and it's kind of hard to repair those, so they may have had a little hard time getting it repaired. They was all wet and nasty when I saw them.
Okay, so with that being said, with the Public Works, we'll just hold off on that table there. All right, moving right along to the new business, we have the budget, Mr. Matt Garvin and Greg, are you available? Here they are.
Yes, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Come on down,
everybody.
gentlemen.
It's great to see y'all here. So you'll see in front of each of you here, we passed out before the meeting, we have a draft budget.
What we'd like to, for you to do.
Okay,
is
absolutely.
Come down and stand before council. if you don't.
Absolutely. As you'll see, you do have a draft budget there in front of each of you, and this outlines a first look at what you can have as your budget going forward into fiscal year 2017. We've been meeting with the mayor over the past few weeks to get some of her input on it, get the input from the city department heads on this as well in terms of some capital expenditures. And this is the first pass of this. To give you a little bit of a look at the timeline on these, the first presentation here is tonight, and with the first presentation of the budget, it becomes available for public review at City Hall. So we've given an extra copy to Tawana. She will keep there so that any member of the public who would like to review the budget can come and look at it. We're also giving it to y'all tonight to have your first look at it and, you know, get your first reactions. What may need to change, what may not need to change, we'll see. 2 weeks from today, when we come back for our next council meeting, at 5 o'clock, before it begins, we will go ahead and have a public hearing on it so that we can get any comments from the public. So this gives them about 2 weeks to review it at City Hall prior to that. Then we'll have a public hearing. Y'all can, you know, make some more comments, make some more changes, adjustments, whatever you see fit. The goal is to hopefully have a budget adopted by the end of September, you know, which would probably be the second council meeting in September. You can call meetings as necessary. But the goal is to have it adopted by end of September so that when October 1 starts, your new fiscal year, you have a budget in place ready to go. So just to give a little bit of background on how we got to the numbers that are in the first draft you see there for you, Matt looked at the budget from last year, looked at the progress that the city had been making along those lines, and that helped inform where y'all are at now. A few of the highlights just to note, there were some changes in revenue. Specifically, we've seen the sales tax revenue has been declining some, what you get in terms of the local option sales tax. So that's one of the things that's been affecting your budget on the revenue side. We made some adjustments on the expenditure side to try and correct for that. One of the biggest changes on that side was the amount of legal fees that we were budgeting for has decreased. So that has allowed the city to have a little bit more money that you can work with. There are a few recommendations the mayor made in terms of adding a new staff member in Public Works, in the Streets Department possibly, adding some funding for recreational facilities, as well as some funds to address blight within the city. So those were a few of the recommendations that were added into that. At this time, we are open to any recommendations, any and all recommendations, as this is just the very first draft. So our goal here from this point forward is to be the ears that take your thoughts, your suggestions, put it onto paper, and have something that y'all can adopt before the end of this fiscal year. So Matt, do you have any additional information sort of give some input on?
Not really. Greg touched on most of the highlights. A couple other changes. Right now in the budget, we don't have, not proposing a millage rate increase on the property taxes, so we're working under that assumption right now. And also with regards to salaries, there is currently no proposed